our founder planes. This right here is an embodied form of the violet ray spectrum. Tap in and tune in Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern, live on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Grand Rising with ChristoLight, your sacred space for discovering the Ascended Masters in crystal healing. Ashe.
There was some kind of a war in Zeta Reticuli 1 and 2 a million or more years ago, and that it was between the tall, pale humanoid progenitors and another life form, gray humanoids, and that these two life forms are somehow distributed in this double binary star system of Zeta Reticuli 1 and 2, and that what the war was about, according to the U.S. Air Force colonel, is that the tall, pale humanoids were secretly going to the gray humanoid planet, harvesting genetic material, going back to their planet in the Zeta Reticuli 1 and 2 system, creating androids, hybrids, a variety of slave labor from the genetic material that the tall humanoids were harvesting from the short gray planets.
Hello, hello. Grand day, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome to a fresh episode of Grand Rising with ChristoLight on this beautiful Wednesday. How are we all today? And I want to thank you guys for joining me today. We're just going to open up this space nice and slow. Drop into our hearts. Take some deep breaths. One Siniyama Tukona Ine Siniyanu Imea Sutona Inaya Sunokone Anata Sunatati Nakuna. Thank you guys. I thank you. All right. So I'm Marcus ChristoLight. I am your host of this journey Grand Rising ChristoLight. We've explored the universal time matrix. We've explored the different rays of light. And we have explored many of these different star and galactic lineages. I'm going to take you guys to last week. Left off on our last episode. I said last week. Yesterday, on Tuesday, where we left off. So you can see a nice refresher on where we're picking up from.
You need to hear this if you've ever felt like you just don't belong on Earth, or if birds seem to bring you messages you can't explain. Buckle up. The avian starseeds may be calling you home. The avian star race is said to be a civilization of highly intelligent bird-like beings from distant star systems.
Invite grace, invite ease and mercy to this awakening process. So let's begin. The Azrael avian hybrids, the second light manifestation of the gold order, are gold ray orders of seraphim. Kerez avian bird people in Athian lines that are the solar rishi, which incarnated in the fourth harmonic universe throughout the astrological age of timelines, and further recorded the tragic histories of the invasion and enslavement of the angelic human race. These tragic histories are the hidden histories of the fall of humanity. Thus, the seraphim fell with humanity on the planet and digressed into the dark forces behind the fallen angelic timekeepers, ultimately being controlled by the curse of Yahweh. Let's go ahead and take a look at the fallen angelic timekeepers. The sextant matrix. The sextant matrix is a part of the more bio-clock function of the human light body system. Yahweh is related to the Ezekiel and to the sextant matrix that was used to shorten the human lifespan and kill the body. Bones were collected upon the death of the body to create a more sinister way to trap the human consciousness, thus trapping the consciousness through the dead body's bones that are buried down in the earth. Wow. This happened to Ezekiel, and he is held in place through this religious, the negative agenda that invaded our planet to enslave humanity. The four pillars of man unite to awaken the 12 guardians of the pillar through the unification of the four living creatures in the planetary body.
Look at the origins of the avian race. The avian race entered our universe from a different universe billions of years ago. Their habitats are known as spheres, but in reality they are large planets that the race has colonized. Many of the avians in our universe evolved from tiny birds and were seeded by high-dimension 12D
by brilliant light. The center of the fire looked like glowing metal, and in the fire was what looked like 4 living creatures. In appearance, their form was that of a man, but each of them had 4 faces and 4 wings.
So that's where we left off yesterday on our episode. We were exploring the avians from Lyra. And man, what a fascinating episode that was. It was really cool to discover our avian connection and, you know, what they are in this universe. Gives you a little bit deeper perspective of the blueprint and the coding behind birds and what birds are an embodiment of, and what they do and why they are the specific messengers that they are. It's so fascinating when you dive into these episodes together. But with that being said, let's go ahead and do our collective card reading for today. So today our collective card reading is going to be from the Light Language Oracle. The Light Language Oracle has 52 different guides, all from different pantheons, and they're channeled by Chloe Metcalf directly. So you have characters like the Wolf Spirit. Then you have Queen Nefertiti, Kali, galactic mermaids, spirit animals, all sorts of cool stuff in here. So we're going to pull a card from here for today and see what kind of message the divine has for us, for our collective. All right, so our card and guide for today is going to be number 38, Mayfield. So Mayfield represents Octarian Intergalactic Council. How cool is that? So this highly knowledgeable intergalactic guide is one of an important group. She is a counselor and healer of the universe. Mayfield offers you wisdom of the ages, healing methods that are unique and powerful. You can call upon her to help you understand the deeper reaches of this world. She holds the map to far-off lands and is a fantastic guide to take through meditation and astral projection travels. Her message for you is, all is available if you open your mind to knowledge. It's time to rethink and connect with a new idea or ideas that are new to you. Sometimes the craziest theories can hold you merit. Researching things like quantum physics, the Fibonacci spiral, past lives, and alternative realities can hold some of the deepest insights to spirit. Alternatively, you may like to study astrology. It's time to learn something new. Wow, I love this. So one key is wisdom for healing methods. Astral travel. As well as diving into deeper esoterics and deeper knowledge of the universe, such as astrology, human design, gene keys, all these different things. Sounds like we're gonna dive deeper into what is possible and what we're capable of embodying is what I'm really hearing. This is a great time of clearing out old patterns. The Octarians are really good. If you go back a couple of weeks ago, I believe, we talked about the Octarians. They're really good for removing dense energies, removing blockages, moving attachments, moving mind control as well. And with that, they're highly advanced with healing techniques. So the Octarians are great to work with if you feel like you have, attachments, addictive patterns, and other things going on in your life. So how's our card for today? Mayfield, number 38. Now it's from the Light Language Oracle. Oh, last thing I'm hearing too is for some of us, deep diving into this knowledge could be having sessions that help you figure out what your galactic lineage is or your starseed origin, as well as anything else that could deal with soul retrieval and incarnated experiences in your soul journey. And I heard too that's valuable to get in tune with your aspects, get in tune with your astrology, get in tune with your human design, getting in tune with your life path number. So then you can kind of discover and know how to best equip and best support the attributes that make up your character. Because basically that's what that is. Your astrology signs, your human design, your life path number, it's all basically attributes or characteristics that make your character in this human life what it is. And then it blueprinted and then it manifested. And we designed it intentionally, our own self on a soul level, to help us best suit what we came here to do on this journey on Earth. So the more that we get in tune with our signs, our human design, our gene keys, and things of that nature, then we're going to be in the organic blueprint, in the natural resonance of what helps us be our best self here in this Earth life. And that is why we have it. So Mayfield is just reminding us to tune into that and to look into what's beneath the surface, the things that are in nature, that are always continuous and in cycles and flowing with us. So that's our collective reading for today. You guys can always watch the replay if you're just joining. So now let's go ahead and take a look at a little preview for this episode and the study that we're about to dive into.
Stop believing Earth is your only home. The universe may have a cosmic family waiting for you. Let's explore the Zeta Reticuli mystery. Zeta Reticuli isn't just two stars shining in the southern sky. It's the rumored home of the Zeta starseeds. Who are they? Some say Zeta starseeds are souls with origins in this distant system, sent to Earth to guide us toward higher consciousness, toward interstellar unity. They're often described as logical, intuitive, deeply curious about science and technology. Some even believe connections to Zeta Reticuli explain certain alien encounter stories. Think the famous Betty and Barney Hill case. Whether you're a skeptic or a seeker, the idea of Zeta starseeds challenges us to expand our view of what's possible in this vast universe. So, could your cosmic origins trace back to Zeta Reticuli? Hit subscribe and discover more starseed secrets.
All right, let's dive into those starseed secrets and learn in depth about the Zeta star beings. And yes, it's about to get a little weird because this does have to do with the gray aliens. All right. The Zeta. So, the Zeta groups. So the Zeta groups are negative aliens, or they are negative polarity beings from the reptile insectoid collective that formed alliances with the Draconians to take control over the Earth, and to which are also referred to as the negative agenda. These groups are also called the Black Suns, or Black Sun Agenda. These groups use technology to open wormholes that were blended together to create the power required to attempt to pull the Earth body into the black hole system, leading into the phantom matrix where they exist, and then can gain control of the planet and humanity. The Zeta contacted the Earth world governments during the First World War to make agreements for the barter of Earth resources and human genetics in exchange for gray alien advanced technologies and assorted militarized weaponry. The Zeta were involved in colonizing Mars and were active during the Atlantean culture that eventually led to the fall. They joined with the NAA to counteract and destroy the Christic human guardian race for control and domination of this time vector in this universal time matrix. The Zetas are interested in breeding programs to create Zeta human hybrids in order to maintain control over the Earth in the future timelines. Thus, they formed covert agreements with the world governments and allied forces during World War II in order to reproduce their own race, and through which they could use the Zeta hive mind to more effectively mind control the population of the Earth. During World War II, treaties were made with the Allied government, and as a result, several organizations, black operations, covert groups, such as the Majestic 12, were set up to further administer to these treaties, while secretly testing out assorted alien technologies, weaponry, while reverse engineering spacecraft. And these activities are what began the compartmentalization process to set up different factions for the secret space programs, as well as build deep underground complexes for high-level testing of these alien technologies carried out by the military-industrial complex. Sound familiar, huh? Underground tunnels, hearing about military experiments, military spaces underneath the Earth. Well, we're about to dive in and get into the nitty-gritty. So before we even continue, we're going to go ahead and read about gray alien. So gray alien. Many people that are direct abductee experiencers have reported differently appearing types of gray aliens and similar appearing bodies of different sizes for over the past 100 years. Aleister Crowley is a key figure in cooperating with the negative agenda, starting with gray alien contact made in Cairo, Egypt in April 1904, an Anunnaki in a gray alien body named Awuas transmitted and implanted him with the Book of Law, which is the central text of Thelema that was written down from the direction given from the entity. Wow. What? Holy smokes. Man, we uncover some things in these episodes. We're talking about Aleister Crowley being connected to gray aliens of the Zeta to get his knowledge. Like, wow. I would have never have thought the gray aliens. So fascinating. So the gray alien skin colors range from light gray to dark bluish gray to steel gray, as well as skin tones in the tan to brown range. Despite their different skin tones, with the exception of their heights, their overall physiology is similar, and they are normally categorized according to their height and observed hierarchical status relating to their behavior and the tasks that are seen performing during the procedural processes that are carried out on abductee and experiencers. Greys are telepathic, and they use mind-to-mind melding techniques through strong projection made through the eyes to connect, an optic nerve communication method. They are the creators of many common alien implants used to make human docile and place them under mind control belief systems. Thus, they also may enhance telepathic communication with the use of neutral implants placed in the subject. It is highly likely that many of the gray alien bodies are biological drones created in laboratory, and thus are not able to sustain natural biological spiritual evolution, consciousness expansion, and procreation. Thus, they abduct, harvest, and manipulate humans for their unique DNA that is capable to sustain life and light within their own bodily tissues. While gray alien bodies are dead tissue or synthetic bodies, the inability to evolve or procreate has led Greys and other Zeta aliens to create hybrid breeding programs to impregnate Earth females, or take ovum and sperm from Earth people with desirable genetics in order to create hybrid children. Alien abduction. Many humans have been abducted before and report that EBE entities appear to be drones designed to carry out certain tasks for higher-ups, such as escort the abducted to the location where the medical or genetic examination will take place. Many times, the creature reported as a gray alien is a biological drone being used remotely for MyLab's programs, or other extraterrestrial or extra-dimensional negative aliens, genetic manipulation, or breeding programs. Certain extraterrestrial entities like the Anunnaki are capable of conscious projection. Therefore, they are known to take on a variety of body shapes and biological forms via consciousness projection between the bodies. It is suggested that some gray alien, biological drone bodies are used by the Anunnaki as well as the human-alien military cooperative agreement and the breakaway civilizations. The EBEs. Many of these EBEs were once humans. They were involved in the Orion Wars. They were captured in Orion and used in worker colonies. Some from the Earth were enslaved on the astral plane by other races of creatures, such as mantids, gray aliens, and reptilians, that took them as workers to other planetary systems. Some are even used as minions for carrying out human abductions in MyLab's soul transference projects. Many of them had their consciousness erased, and they do not remember that they were once human. This is one of the possible results of transhumanism movement underway in the Earth timeline now, that leads to the potential future alien or dark force control over the soul. Once the consciousness is assimilated into artificial intelligence and synthetic biology, that being can no longer incarnate into an organic human form. Wow, that's so deep. Wow, that is so deep. Once the consciousness is assimilated into artificial intelligence and synthetic biology, that being can no longer incarnate into an organic human form. Dang, this is getting deep. Military-grade alien technology has been artificially written into various reversal field grid networks, as well as have manifested independent harm from their technologies of military weapons, genetic experiments, timeline programs, artificial intelligence, holographic inserts, astral mirages, human abductions, tagging and tracking, and astral plane manipulation. And you guys can click on a lot of these if you visit this site, ascensionglossary.com, and you can go in depth with all these different words that are highlighted. Okay, so we're gonna go back to the first page. How is this for you guys? 'Cause, I mean, this is some deep stuff. Welcome in, Chatterbox. Good to see you. Yeah, so it's ascensionglossary.com. It is deep stuff. And if you've watched any of the series so far, wow. I mean, it gets so deep. And we've broken down so many different galactic star lineages, as well as the different rays of light and ascended masters. But it's been awesome. You can check out the rest of the series on the YouTube channel, Sacred Light Broadcast Network. Go to playlist, and then you'll see Grand Rising with ChristoLight. And it's been a journey. The things that we have uncovered and the depth of knowledge and the way it puts the puzzle pieces together about what we've experienced on Earth is so incredible. I mean, it's a real awakening. It's a real paradigm shift. And the depth of knowledge is incredible. Like we've talked about Lyrans, Syrians, Octarians, Pleiadians, Reptilians, all sorts of intergalactic beings. All right, so we're going to continue. The Zeta Seal. So this is probably going to be something that do with placing a energetic limitation on us. So the Zeta Seal is located in the astral plane layers of the heart complex to block activation of the fourth DNA strand, which blocks access to the mentor fields, the first layer of the highest self-mind in the fifth dimension. Essentially, it is the 4D frequency fence placed in the human body to keep the human soul reincarnating in the astral plane under the control of the negative agenda during the death process. It creates a multitude of blockages that separate the heart, sensory abilities, from being recognized by the mental body or conscious mind. And then it says C implants, alien implants. So we'll go ahead and check that out. And then we're actually going to take a break and we're going to watch a clip from the Joe Rogan podcast where he talks about the Zeta Gray aliens with one of his guests. So, alien implants. Whoever controls the mind controls the body, mind, and soul. Alien implants are used to mind control the masses, to form socially acceptable belief systems, and shape anti-human value systems, which are used to condition humanity to accept spiritual abuse from the negative aliens and to self-enforce their thought systems of hierarchical enslavement and fear. This is a divide and conquer strategy of the planet and humanity. Since most of humanity has been unable to activate the higher heart complex and connect the fourth DNA strand during adolescence and into adulthood over the length of time, the chemicals distort patterns in DNA that accumulate masmatic overlays on core emotional issues and physical imbalances. This is not natural. If a human being cannot activate their heart and access their fourth strand of DNA, they're unable to activate their soul's identity. Thus, they are unaware of why they incarnate on the earth, what their higher purpose is, and cannot connect or listen to their higher self because they have not activated higher sensory perception abilities. Alien implants work in the human body similar to the chemical process in geoengineering of spraying chemtrails in the skies to manipulate or control forces in physical matter. The construction of raw substances used in alien implants are vast, and some are unknown. They can be made of biological material, synthetic material, etheric substances in the light body, or programmed nanobots used in artificial intelligent technologies. Alien implants are a bioengineering technology designed to shape the human body into mind control submission to negative agendas, while chemical geoengineering is used to control the weather by harming the ozone layer and create excessive methane gases. Well, we just learned about why they do chemtrails. In both examples, when the foreign material is introduced to the natural body, it disrupts the electromagnetic body, electromagnetic balance, and the homeostatic rhythm of the body. Many times it runs a low-level EMF, or radio waves, signal that is designed to disrupt the human body's natural homeostasis and electromagnetic balance. This puts the body in a hyper-immunity state and/or in adrenal exhaustion while fighting off the invader. The body develops coping mechanisms to deal with a foreign invader, while extreme stress is placed on the central nervous system, the brain, and the immune system. As with chemtrails, alien implants most generally act as a metallic frequency overload, an exposure to impact the overall bodily energies and its auric field. Eventually, this disrupts the body organism, and as a result, parasites, fungus, yeast, and other microorganisms become overgrown and imbalanced in the body. It is important to understand that energetic parasites eventually manifest, turning into a variety of physical parasites in the human body. Physical parasites impact all bodily functions, mental bodily functions, and thought forms, induce emotional hysterical states, as well as promote disconnection from the inner self and spiritual energies. If the body is heavily implanted and therefore parasitic, anti-parasitic therapy such as cleanses or fasts are highly suggested to regain energetic balance in the homeostatic organism of the entire body, mind, and spirit. If you are new to cleansing, please research to help inform yourself of the phases of cleansing the bodily internal organs to help you regain energetic balance and energetic health. Alien machinery. For those that are indigo and crystal star families, it is important to understand alien implants are artificial machinery, inorganic, and is being used in the planetary field and collective mind for mind control purposes. The vulnerability is that collective viral program influencing or interfering with our personal, natural bodily and nervous system processes. Mental and emotional disease creates energetic blockages, which lead to physical disease patterns. Alien implants and their archonic deception behaviors contribute to disease physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Alien machinery and their mind control implants make us sick in a variety of ways. Last one I'll read, and then we will take a break and watch the Joe Rogan clip. So mind control via EMF. A lot of us are familiar with EMF frequencies, electromagnetic frequencies that come from the towers, from our microwaves, from our Wi-Fi routers, and things of that nature. Mind control technologies are weapons which use electronic microchip implants, nanotechnologies, microwaves, and/or electromagnetic waves to subvert an individual's sense and control of their own thinking, behaviors, emotions, or decision making by attacking the brain and nervous system. The development of these methods and technologies has a long history. Wow. Well, actually, I'm going to continue. This is actually very interesting stuff. So, sexual mind control implants. The name of the game for the NRG is propagating and feeding highly destructive addictions and deviant sexual attitudes and behavior with the global human population. This is a part of propagating the sexual misery program, along with the victim and victimizer. Its first priority is designed to relegate all sexual activity laced with guilt and shame into the lowest forms of human expression and perversion possible. Depending on accepted cultural attitudes, it will use the perception level of access to serve the current societal paradigm into distortion. In Muslim countries, it can be the genital mutilation, the honor killings, the legal killing of raped girls or women by being left in the desert to die by their own husband, or the selling of little girls to prostitution in Thailand, Catholic priests, pedophiles in the Vatican, sadists in the Masonic fetishes in Germany. These harvested sexual energies all feed back into the same NRG grid's matrix and feed the sexual misery programs. Oh man, that's so... I was gonna take a moment. Ooh. But once your body is damaged by these chemicals, how can you cleanse from that? So the key to cleansing your being is, fasting, doing deep herbal detoxes, continuing to do energy clearing meditations, yoga practices, breath work, deep shamanic and holistic practices that help clear your energy and help you rebalance and strengthen your energy are great strategies to stay in consistency with and routine, as well as doing the internal cleansing through your diet, as well as with herbs. And then, of course, spiritual practices and connecting with spiritual energies. You can connect with the Octarians, and you can do Octarian meditations on YouTube. The Octarians help with cleansing and removing negative energy. The Pleiadians are also really good at helping with healing. And the Sirians as well. And even the Lyrans. So those are some ways for you. But, juice fasting, herbal supplements for detoxing, and things of that nature are good for you. But man, the sexual mind control one just really, really hit me. Because we see it. Man, it's been running rampant. The misuse of sexual energy. And the way they glorify it through music, through media. I mean, it's no coincidence. Then you think about the Vatican with the pedophilia. You think about what's going on with Hollywood and all these individuals. And then you think about, draining the swamp. And what draining the swamp really means when you start learning about all this. I think some of us gotta look a little bit deeper in what's happening on the world scale and what is being addressed and what is having to be removed by the light forces on our planet. Because, we may be seeing what the media is telling us about what's going on in the world, what's going on in politics and all this stuff. But when you go deeper into what's going on in life and what's happening on this world, there's forces that have been in place for over 100 years doing these things right here that we're reading about. And now we have some forces that are trying to stop it, and they're trying to close it out. And they've been broadcasting it for the world to hear and see that there is a cabal that is doing these things on this planet for a long time. I feel like we all have to do, maybe I can get a list of things to do. Absolutely. It all starts with ourselves, cleansing our being, cleansing our organism, so that we can get those parasites and negative attracted energies out of us. And then we'll have a more clear vessel for the higher realms, for the higher frequencies to channel through us into this realm. And then we just keep helping each other cleanse and grow. That's the key. We don't want to get too caught up in this and then feel like we can't continue on and keep on doing what we need to do. We got to keep on doing what we need to do while becoming aware, and allow that awareness to then create change by the actions that we take, and not feed into these type of things. The more we don't feed into these behaviors and addictions that cause us to attract these energies, then that's the key right there. So alien implantation is reptilian ownership. So many people on the earth carry an assortment of fragments, attachments, ancestral beings, alien implants, fallen angelics, and potentially one or more alien hosts as a result of hybridization, miasma, karmic bloodlines, or alien abduction. Mind control programming and their holographic inserts allow the consciousness body of the individual to be infiltrated through the energetic signature of the alien implant. Mind control programs enforced through alien implantation and their entity attachments or possessions are two sides of the same coin. The energetic signature of the alien implant will depend on the genetic and consciousness relationship that person has to the entity that has placed the implant in their human target. Many of these entities believe that humans are their personal property, so the alien implant will have specific information from the extraterrestrial source of the species that have laid claim to that individual, family line, or group. So, tracking important releases of AI implants. The reptilian tail is observed as an alien implant on the base of the coccyx, which are used to stop the lower three bodies from forming into a Merkaba spinning field, which allows for drawing in higher source fields from the higher soul planes and the monadic planes from the spiritual light body. It is designed to block your Kundalini activation while feeding the lower negative ego, mental, body complex. You have scalar tagging. This has been used on 4D astral plane by extra dimensionals for quite a long time. With inner vision, some versions of them may appear like dark jacks or confetti scattered around your aura field. They are something like astrobots that are automated to lock onto the coordinate location of a person that has been tracked or tagged. They are tracking devices and they have a particular tone so that those on the astral plane can monitor the location and coordinates of the particular starseed or indigo or whoever that being is. Scalar tagging can be individual to that person's history of evolution, such as there can be Lemurian tags, Atlantean tags, Egyptian tags, Draco tags, Orion War tags. If this was a powerful being in the galactic history event, sometimes they are tagged to be monitored by the negative aliens. The Zeta Seal. So we went through the Zeta Seal. Aging disease. Aging disease or cell death programs, assorted implants, or uploaded mental programs to activate negative labels for medical classifications of disease, rapid aging, and inability for tissues to adequately require cellular integrity, leading to cell death. These collective consciousness disease programs are kept alive in the mass consciousness to activate diseases, implement pharmaceutical and drug dependencies, take over the central nervous system functions while shortening healthy lifespans. Man. You know, it's interesting because the more I healed and the more I cleansed my cellular system, I remembered that my cells are automatically made to repair themselves. So how is it that we age if our cells are automatically able to heal or regenerate themselves? And that's where you kind of think like, okay, it makes sense. Something has been programmed within us to reverse the way our cells age. Our cells are supposed to regenerate, continue, expand, and revolutionize. And now we've been suppressed and filled with all this poison and disease on our planet to reverse our aging. And now we just believe that we're supposed to die at a certain age and that we just have these societal norms of, oh, when you get older, then you are supposed to start breaking down. Oh, you're getting older, your functioning is not going to start working. It's programming to make people basically premeditate their own disease and aging process. The 666 implant is a genetic block that keeps us from accessing our 6th and 7th dimensions, keeping us in human consciousness of the physical world, instead of seeing ourselves as spiritual. Wow. Crown of Thorns blocks the higher self communication from the crown chakra. Gland system implants, implants on the glands. Wow. I mean, there's just so much. So before we continue into the Zeta Draconians and the reptile insectoids, we're going to go ahead and take a moment. Welcome in, Queen, Divine Rising. We're getting really deep over here. Me and Chatterbox are, wow, we're uncovering some things. We're figuring out a lot about these gray aliens and the negative agendas that they do with the mind control and, oh my gosh, all sorts of things going on. So check out the replay if you feel. But let's go ahead and take a moment from the studies and, you know, it's really good that we become aware of this knowledge, because if this is happening, which it is happening and it's taking place in this universe, I mean, we've seen it with our eyes happening physically. We may not have known why or what it was, but now we do. It's good to know this stuff because it is happening. So the more consciously aware we are, the more we can consciously navigate around it and not interact with it as much. But if we're unconscious of it, that leaves us susceptible to then being controlled by it. So we can't turn a cheek, you know, we can't be afraid, and we can't just shut down when it comes to this knowledge and the negative things that are happening in this world. The more we become aware, the more we then can put light upon it, and then we can also bring change by being an alchemist. Where does Dharma and Karma play in all of this, especially since we have known control over this? So Karma and Dharma, if you go back to Sandy's podcast, you know, she talks about how Karma and Dharma, and we also talk about this in the Law of One podcast. So Karma and Dharma is based off of your own energy and what you're putting out with your energy, or the experiences that you're making with your energy. And then you experience the effect of that. So karma is like cause and effect. And that's what karma is, basically. Every cause you create, there's an effect to it. That's your karma. And then if you die, then you still have effects from those causes that you did here on the earth that are keeping you bound to the earth. Then it's likely you have to incarnate back here to the earth and be stuck in a cycle. But these Zeta beings and the negative agendas, they set up these different things that we just read about to basically set up traps for us to then put our own self unconsciously in karmic patterns that bound us spiritually and energetically to continuing to incarnate here on the earth and go back into their traps over and over, harvesting our energy. So karma and dharma, we gotta take back our awareness of our karma and dharma and become more conscious instead of unconscious, to realize that we're accountable for the energy that we are embodying and that we're putting out. And the energy that we embody through being healed and being strengthened is going to determine if we are energetically and magnetically attracting these negative frequencies to be able to interact with our field. So that's why having a healthy, cleansed, and strong energy field or aura is very key, because it'll create stability and protection for our energy. And then through the law of attraction, we will only attract energies that support us. But if we're sick, damaged, traumatized, and all these different things, then energetically it leaves us susceptible to these kind of energies coming in and interacting with us. So that's where karma and dharma comes in. All right, let's check out what Joe Rogan and them have to say about the Zetas.
So they bring you into this room. You see this reactor working, you realize this is nothing that, as far as like the scientific community at current time, has the ability to create.
We still don't.
What is your life like from that moment on? Is that where everything changes? Because I would imagine the moment you actually make contact with something that's extraterrestrial, whether it's an object or a being, something where you can actually absolutely be certain it's not from here, your whole paradigm, the whole world you live in, is now a different place.
Well, this is the only time it became exciting. You know, the rest of the time, it was really an ominous feeling being at work. But at that time, it was exciting. I mean, now I knew we were on the absolute beyond the cutting edge of science. And I was so absolutely excited to be there every single time I was. This was a fantastic opportunity. And however, in short order, it began to concern me. We really have no idea what we're talking about. And the excitement kind of turned to dread at some point, because the amount of power we're dealing with is astronomical. I mean, to affect gravity, to produce the effects like this equipment does, takes huge amounts of power. And I've given the example before of, taking a small portable nuclear reactor and, putting it back into Victorian times, with the scientists of the time, and just dropping it in a room. And they come and look at it and see that it's producing power and wonder how it works. So they start taking it apart. And as soon as they get some of the shielding off, the people are going to drop dead because of the radiation inside. Now, the people have no idea that radiation even exists back then. But anybody that comes in to check on them will also drop dead. And, there's no reason that exact scenario couldn't happen with what we're dealing with. We have no idea how the physics operate within this thing. The power levels are, like I said, astronomical. Like, it's incredibly dangerous to tinker with something like that. And, in some respects, we were guinea pigs, just try to find out how to make this thing.
So they had a series, as far as you surmised, they had a series of different scientists try to back engineer this thing, try to figure out what this thing was, and they would bring in new people and let's throw Bob at it.
Yeah.
And
I don't know how many, but I knew there was certainly one before me, and I knew he died during the analysis of the reactor itself. And
you don't know how many have worked on it, and no one gave any
This could have been
indication.
there for 50 years. It could have been there for 5 years.
When they're giving you instructions, what are they saying? Like, when they're giving you direction, they're showing you all this stuff. Like, what are they saying? What are they asking of you?
Well, essentially what they ask is what I said. We are just to gather as much information as possible, find out how it operates, and see if we can duplicate it.
But they never told you where it was from. They never let you ask questions about where it's from.
Well, if the information I read in the briefings was accurate, now what I do have to say is the information that pertained directly to the reactor was accurate. What I read did jive with reality.
In terms of how?
In terms of how it was made, what we saw, how it operated, the materials, how it, turned on, and what was discovered about it. I'm sorry, the migraine is really making it hard for me to think here.
Sorry, no, we talked that before the podcast. You tell our buddy Bob was getting a migraine. I know you're very stressed out by this, which is one of the reasons why I appreciate you doing this.
Where was I already?
We were talking about
right,
the way you explained it.
And so there was some paperwork that indicated that this was from the Zeta Reticuli star system. Now, how they obtained that, I haven't the slightest idea. But it wasn't just from the Zeta Reticuli star system. It was what they called ZR3. So it was a third planet in that star system. So there was no other information about it other than that's supposedly where the craft came from. Now, is that true? I don't know. I have no way of verifying that. But that was printed in the same materials that referenced the reactor. Now, I looked that stuff up when I went home. And Zeta Reticuli is a binary star. two stars that orbit one another, and it's only visible in the southern hemisphere, and it's about 30 some odd light years away. So that's literally all the information I have about that. I don't know how they found out it came from there.
And you also probably have some suspicions that they give you some disinformation, like you were talking about before, where they would, I mean, if you ever decided to talk about this, they added a bunch of nonsense to make whatever is factual look ridiculous.
Right. Or be able to trace it down. Like, hey, this fax came out, and this Lazar guy said it came from Zeta Reticuli, so they knew it would
when
be me.
You read Zeta Reticuli, were you like, what in the fuck is this?
Well, reading all of the stuff, it was, what in the fuck is this?
You're like, why did I sign up for this? Like, what?
No, to me, this was cool. This was interesting. I said, I was just excited to be out in a secure area, in the middle of the desert. I said, this is awesome.
How old were you at the time?
I was in my 20s.
Yeah, so you're probably totally geeked out.
Oh yeah, this was great. I mean, I was excited. So I didn't care. I'm reading through everything, and
so you read through all the Zeta Reticuli thing, but then when you see the actual starship with the little American flag sticker on it,
well, was
that later or before?
That was before.
So before. So you see the thing before, and you say, "Oh, this is American."
Wait, what's that before?
Hard. So many years.
Yeah, I can't.
Either way, it doesn't matter.
The days have fused together. It's so hard to separate what happened in each visit to the place.
Do you remember the thought process when you read that it's from Zeta Reticuli?
Yeah, it didn't hit me like a ton of bricks or anything. It was just like, yeah, okay. And,
you think it was bullshit?
I don't know.
You just were like,
okay. Now I don't. I mean, because when I read it, I hadn't verified anything, and this was just a bunch of stuff I was reading, and I thought maybe after this they're just going to give me a test and see what I can remember in crazy information, and it would. But like I said, when I finally went in with Barry and had hands-on experience with what they were talking about, it took on a completely different meaning.
Wow. I mean, we got Joe Rogan and Bob Lazar talking about the Zeta gray aliens. In-depth experience from Bob Lazar himself. So fascinating. If you guys haven't seen my wallpaper yet, check it out. Pretty cool. Gotta have fun, man. Gotta have fun. That is deep. Wait, which is deep? The background or Bob Lazar? I feel like it'd be pretty deep. A gray alien smoking cannabis. Would probably make him want to do experiments for the good. That's what it is. That's all we need to do. We just need to give these negative energies a little bit of cannabis. Oh man, that was so cool though, because I actually do enjoy some of Joe Rogan's podcasts, just how open-minded they are. So that was really cool to see. And we all need a joint. I got this cart here that has live rosin, very clean oil. I got it from the Ohio Valley Canna Cup. I'm actually going to start a 420 podcast here soon with Aura to Profit, who is a music artist, conscious hip hop artist, traveled all over the country, shared his music. We're going to start a podcast and we're just going to talk about conscious living. our intentions, our stories, what we've been doing, the music, all that good stuff. What's the name of this podcast again? Which podcast? Are you talking about my podcast right now? Welcome in, Jeremy. Grand day. No, the one with the guy. Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan podcast. Give me some of that. Can't wait to catch up and finally meet you, brother. Yeah, you as well. Yeah, it's a Joe Rogan podcast. All right, we're gonna continue on our study and finish out the study from Ascension Glossary. See you soon too, brother. All right. So the Zeta seal. Yeah, we already went over that one. So the Zeta Draconian agenda. The most aggressive and violent of the Zeta groups are those that come from the star system Rigel, and thus are called Rigelians, or Zeta Draconian Rigelians. They are extremely dangerous to humans, as they endorse aggressive, genocidal, and eugenistic agendas to take over the Earth, and present themselves as guardians or benevolent humanoids in order to seduce Earth humans to further invasion and hybridization agendas. They generally prefer to use a Nordic blonde, fair-skinned human body, or tall white, when they are masquerading as a human being. Therefore, they are known to be one of the most hostile of the negative agenda, intruding entity groups. They can shapeshift into appearing human-like and are referred to as HAVs, placed in the category of hostile alien visitors. This particular group was involved in military testing projects known as the Montauk Project, in which they set up the participants to fail, whereby ripping open holes into the space-time field in the Earth body, in which the Zeta gained more access levels into the Earth grid. This allowed for easier access to continue human abduction experiments for genetic engineering and testing in order to create and evolve an assortment of human clones and human hybrids that are engineered to carry out workloads or for fulfilling certain purposes. Infiltration of pregnant human mothers occurred through the abduction scenarios in which the unborn child would be injected with Zeta Draconian genetics and monitored after birth and into adulthood. By infusing genetic material into the child grows into an adult in which can be controlled through the manipulation of DNA signals, whereby hijacking the bioengineering system. Guardian teams assist in these matters by cleansing out the genetic material of these patterns in order to free these individuals from the Zeta hive mind control. Wow. I'm gonna give you guys a great, clear example of this. A very easy example is you think about Hollywood. You think about how they groom children in Hollywood, the way that they have children and then they groom them into being what they are used for in Hollywood. That's a prime example of literally creating children, genetically doing all these things to these children to make them basically be controlled, and using techniques like MK Ultra. And then here we are today, reading what we read. Whew. Boy, we're getting somewhere. The reptile insectoid collectives. The main groups of negative aliens, the Anunnaki, Draconians, the Zetas, and the Necrometeans, that source out of the phantom matrix spaces in the parallel systems, formed alliances with the fallen angelic Anunnaki groups to take control over the Earth, which are referred to as the negative agenda. These groups used technology to open wormholes that were blended together to create the power required to attempt to pull the Earth body into the black hole system, leading into the phantom matrix where they exist, and then could gain control over the planet and humanity. These are called the Black Suns or Black Sun Agenda. The reptile insectoid collective, the dragon moth from Orion black hole system, necromitten beetle hominids, the men in black from Nibiru lines. Oh, the men in black? Yo, hold on. We're going into the men in black right now. Oh, wow. The Marduk Omicron, the Alpha Centauri, the Contour hybrids from Omega Cantoria, the Zeta from Rigel, Zeta Draconian agendas, and then Zeta from Zeta Reticuli. Wowzers. So we'll read the Black Sun program, and then we'll go into the videos. So the Black Sun program, the negative alien agenda, NNA, is to force the planet to serve another multiple species controller agenda. They're imposing false replicated timelines using biowarfare technology, such as holographic inserts, AI, and mind control, namely created under genetic reptilian insectoid archons, extraterrestrials, at the expense and life force of the human race and the kingdoms under the human domain. Much of the NAA is veiled in the shadow levels of the ET and human military industrial complex, primary takeover access in the naval forces and in the underground base of the Earth. It appears Earth was invaded several times by hostile negative aliens, with a major shift occurring 26,000 years ago during the Luciferian Rebellion, Atlantis' fall, and leading to the latest event during the Sumerian and Egypt invasion. These agendas are still in effect today and impact all human and earthly life as an enforced enslavement on a prison planet, being harvested by a variety of resources to send back to off-planets controllers, such as collecting energy quanta of human life force and earthly minerals. Whew. And yeah, we see it. It's happening, man. I was just having this discussion the other day. Think about the cows. Think about the animals. Not just the humans, but the animals. Think about how they're being harvested, factory farmed, and all the other things that I don't even want to get into, because it honestly just like makes my heart pour. So, one world order. So yeah, we know about that. You know, the cabal trying to establish a one world order where they can have control over all of us, and that we are under their subject, basically. Phew, that's the deep stuff right there. That's where we're going to leave off for our study. And then we're going to dive in some educational videos to help accompany our study. All right. All right, you guys enjoy? We're going to get started.
Welcome to the Encyclopedia of Extraterrestrial Species, where we delve into the mysteries of the cosmos and uncover the truth behind the beings that inhabit our universe. In this episode, we explore the Zeta Reticuli, an enigmatic race hailing from the Zeta Reticuli star system in the Reticulum constellation. Zeta Reticuli leaders and examiners are distinct, standing about 4.5 to 5 feet tall. Their heads are disproportionately large in comparison to their bodies, featuring striking gecko-like eyes with vertical slits. Their broad foreheads taper into small jaws, and their blue-gray bumpy skin resembles aluminum. These beings have no body hair, eyebrows, or external ears. Interestingly, a membrane covers their toothless mouths, which flutters rhythmically when they communicate with each other. Their cool palms support 3 long, slender fingers, a shorter finger and a thumb. The smaller Zeta Reticuli crew members stand around 3.5 feet tall. Their heads are more rounded, resembling melons, with an enlarged cranial structure. Their large, dark eyes almost completely cover the sides of their faces, with little white visible. Their petite noses are flat and broad, and their thin slit mouths further define their unusual appearance. Despite their size, these beings are sturdily built, with broad shoulders and barrel chests. Their hands feature 4 short fingers and a thumb, but no visible fingernails. Little is known about the Zeta Reticuli's belief system, leaving their deeper motivations a mystery. In terms of their agenda, the Zeta Reticuli seem primarily curious about our physical similarities and differences. Those who have been abducted report being examined in great detail, with particular focus on the eyes, nose, throat, bones, hands, and feet. Nervous system testing is conducted using wires attached to specific points on the body. However, they appear to do no harm and are focused purely on investigation. Zeta Reticuli travel in disc-shaped craft, typically around 60 to 80 feet in diameter. These saucers are flattened at the bottom, with an elevated hat-like shape on top. The craft emits a fiery orange-red glow in flight, with windows that shine a bright blue-white light. Inside there are examination rooms specifically designed for their studies. Telepathy is common among the Zeta Reticuli, although some seem more capable than others. It's uncertain whether this ability is natural or aided by technology, but they are known to induce sleep in humans simply by raising their hand. Additionally, they have the power to erase memories of abductions. Zeta Reticuli may also possess multidimensional abilities, allowing them to operate beyond our typical understanding of space and time. Thank you for watching. If you're eager to learn more about other fascinating extraterrestrial species, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. Stay alert. There's always more than meets the eye when it comes to the secrets of the cosmos.
Wow, that was a pretty good one. I gotta say, I've known of gray aliens, and I feel like I've like interacted with the energy before at some point. But man, it's really cool to really see it all coming full circle now. So fascinating. Um, and two, like, you know what's a really fascinating one? The picture of Adolf Hitler shaking hands with a gray alien. I'm gonna pull that up. I'm gonna see if I can find that. Because like the Nazis were so big into all this stuff, and as we read in the study, you know, it talked about basically that they were involved in World War I and World War II. Like, look at that. How real do you think that is? Let me pull this up. Like, how real do you guys think that is after reading all this stuff that we've learned about? Like, look at that. That is so trippy. Like, we really learned about it today, you know, like these Zeta reptilians, they have been involved in World War I and World War II. So it's almost like maybe the Nazis were, holy smokes. Ooh, wow, I'm getting a massive download right now. I gotta take a moment. So what I'm about to share with you guys, it's like really opening my paradigm right now. Holy smokes. So, okay. Okay, so we read about in this study, when it comes to these Zeta gray aliens, we read about how they manipulate and mind control and basically tag human beings. What I mean by tag is they kind of like energetically put an implant on that person's aura or their energy field due to the trauma or the energy that it can resonate with. And then through that tagging, it's then able to start mind controlling it through frequencies and telepathy. And that's probably how they were able to literally get a whole entire army and nation of individuals to do such evil, because they were all tagged and being mind controlled from their dimension. So we're just seeing the physical, you know, we're just seeing what's happening on the physical level. So for us, it's just like, oh, these human beings are terrible and they're just doing terrible things. But what's behind it? Like, what is the motive that is getting human beings in such a large, massive level and so organized in such a weird way to do what that just happened on such a way that is so diabolical? Like, so diabolical, man. Like, come on now. Like, when we say diabolical, we're talking like, let's remember what they did. I mean, that just goes to show you the mind control happening from these Zeta beings that we have read about. Ooh, that's deep. Like, wow. All right. Let's go into our last video.
The Zeta Reticuli star system has long been a topic of interest for science fiction enthusiasts, conspiracy theorists and alien hunters alike. 39 light-years from Earth, this binary star system contains two main stars, Zeta Reticuli 1 and Zeta Reticuli 2. Both orbit each other at a distance of about 370 astronomical units. Fascinatingly, they are both almost identical stars to our Sun, a double sun system if you will. Hi everyone, Vega here, and in today's video we're going to revisit Zeta Reticuli and consider whether its relative fame is deserved. So let's get to it. First discovered in the 1800s, the Zeta Reticuli system has captured the imagination of many due to its potential to harbour life. In the 60s and 70s, a number of supposed alien abduction cases emerged, with many individuals claiming to have been taken aboard extraterrestrial spacecraft by beings from Zeta Reticuli. While the veracity of these claims is still widely debated, they help to popularise the notion that Zeta Reticuli is a hotspot for extraterrestrial activity. Probably the most famous depiction of all of the Zeta Reticuli star system in popular culture is in the Alien franchise. The first film, Alien, starring Sigourney Weaver as Ellen Ripley, a warrant officer, involves the ship's crew receiving what they think is a distress beacon on a planetoid in the Zeta Reticuli system, known as LV-426. In the film we see a glimpse that the object is actually in orbit around a gas giant in the system. In the film, Ripley and her team encounter a vicious extraterrestrial creature known as a xenomorph, which infests the mothership and kills all of its crew. In a sequel covered, don't forget to check out our video on exomoons if you have a chance, and I'll link it in the card above. Of course, the most fantastical element of Aliens is the existence of the xenomorphs themselves. The creatures are depicted as having an incredibly resilient and adaptive way of life with a unique life cycle that involves parasiting and ultimately killing other organisms. While there is no scientific evidence to suggest that life forms like the xenomorphs exist, they serve as a potent reminder of the vast diversity of life that may well exist beyond our own planet. One interesting aspect of the Zeta Reticuli star system that has definitely fueled speculation about extraterrestrial life is the distance between the two main stars. Zeta Reticuli 1 and 2 are separated by a distance of about 370 astronomical units, or some 5.5 trillion kilometers. This is relatively close for a binary star system, yet remains distant enough to mean that neither star is a direct threat to the stability of either star's potential planetary systems, and it's led to some to speculate that any planets in the system may because of this be even more likely to harbour life. Gravitational forces exerted by the two stars on any planets in the system would be stable, which could provide a more conducive environment for the evolution of complex life forms. In pure statistics though, it is actually Zeta 2 surprisingly that is the larger of the two stars, coming in at an almost identical Sun analogue with 98.5% of the Sun's mass and 99% its radius. Zeta 1 is slightly smaller at 95.8% the Sun's mass and 92% its radius, meaning that its luminosity is quite a lot smaller than the Sun at 76%, whereas again, its larger partner Zeta 2 is almost the same luminosity as our star at 97%. Both stars are G-dwarfs, and Zeta 2 has the same designation as our Sun at G25, whereas Zeta 1 slightly less so at G35. Isn't that fascinating? We've talked many times on this channel about the Alpha Centauri system, which of course again isn't too different to this system, but the relative closeness of the two major stars of Rigil Centaurus and Ptolemy in this system makes the likelihood of stable planets less likely. Zeta of course does not suffer from this problem, and the safe zone, where planets could form without being disturbed by the other star, is much larger. The constellation in which the stars can be found, Reticulum, is a small and faint constellation in the southern skies. Its name is Latin for small net or reticule, a net of crosshairs in the focus of a telescope eyepiece that's used to measure star positions. As I say, a southern hemisphere constellation, even its brightest star of Alpha Reticuli only shines at plus 3.3 magnitudes, so it's pretty dim across the board. Zeta for its part barely even reaches naked eye visibility at an apparent magnitude of plus 5.52. Another intriguing feature of this system is the presence of a debris disk around Zeta Reticuli 2. The disk is composed of dust and other debris that is thought to have formed from collisions between asteroids and other small bodies in the system. The presence of a debris disk like this can indicate that there may be other smaller objects in the system that could potentially be the building blocks of planets. In the film Aliens, the planet LV-426 is depicted as having been terraformed with a breathable atmosphere. Evidence of volcanic activity, both in lava flows and the volcanic rocks themselves, do tend to suggest that the moon may be experiencing some degree of tidal heating, as the moon is stretched by the larger gravity of the gas giant that it orbits. For those who know the Aliens film Inside Out, which of course I include myself, you may remember talk of a rescue taking 17 days.
How long after we're declared overdue can we expect a rescue?
17 days.
17 days? Hey man, I don't want to rain on your parade. We're not going to last 17 hours.
Given that Zeta lies some 39 light years from Earth, or 371 trillion kilometers, if the rescue's coming from Earth, it means any spaceship would have to be traveling at 21.86 trillion kilometers a day. This is some 911 billion kilometers an hour, or 844 times the speed of light. What I think this means is that we can safely say for now that aliens and those scary xenomorphs lay well within the reins of science fiction rather than fact. In today's graphic, we imagine what the colonial marines might have seen on the LV-426 moon if they'd looked towards the host star. We assume here that the main star is the larger Zeta 2 star, although there is no reference to this in the saga. Very much like our Sun, assuming a distance of 1 astronomical unit, it would shine unsurprisingly almost exactly like our Sun, if a tiny bit dimmer. We see in the distance the gas giant that LV-426 orbits, as well as the theorized debris disk. We see Zeta 1 shining in broad daylight, some 310 astronomical units away, around 10 times further than the planet Neptune would be, and shining at a modest -14 apparent magnitudes. This of course is still far brighter than anything we have in Earth skies, but clearly dimmer and faded. Zeta Reticuli is a binary system some 39 light-years from Earth that contains two almost replica sun stars in a distant, yet related orbit with each other. Science fiction has wondered about the two stars for many years, and recent discoveries have revealed a protoplanetary or debris disk around the larger star of Zeta 2. Part of the very faint and unremarkable constellation of Reticulum, the Net, these two stars have punched above their weight in astronomical folklore for some time now. We wonder if one day in the far future, human visitors may turn those stories and tales into reality. Thanks for watching and consider subscribing if you haven't already. If you would like to support the channel further, you could consider buying me a coffee and I'll link this in the description. Thanks to those of you who have already done so. And if you have any videos or subjects you'd like to see brought to life, don't forget to let me know in the comments below, and perhaps your idea next week could show up. Take good care of yourselves and look after your friends and family well, and I'll see you on the next one.
And that right there will be the conclusion for our episode today. Boy, what a journey it's been with the Zetas. Quite interesting, huh? Learned some stuff. And with that being said, we're going to go ahead and close it out. And I thank you guys for joining. I'll be live later tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern for Sending Beyond Limitations, the Raw Material Law of One with Sandy Marshall. And then I'll see you guys also tomorrow rising, I believe. So then, till then, stay well, stay conscious, and wholeness. One love. (2023) Mother Gaia, third dimensional planet, ascending. Thank you from the Sacred Light Broadcast Network and Sacred Light Productions for tapping in and tuning in to all live and replay content, holistic, conscious, for your empowerment. Tap in to the ChristoLight within. Please like, share, and subscribe. And remember that you are the one that you have been looking for. Enjoy this content. If you would like to collaborate or receive production through myself, Marcus ChristoLight, direct message or email me at marcustut23@gmail.com to discuss details. Wholeness and balanced love. Ashe.